Hey everybody, this is Minion Soldier and this is the Piracy Show. Now, on today's show, I want to talk about I was going to talk about worlds and about the size of the worlds that we're going to be moving into in 3.0. And before I did that, I kind of went out and I did a test on my own. And what I had done is, in the World of Warcraft universe, I started all the way up at the north end in Light's Hope Chapel, and I basically rode a mount on the ground all the way down to Stranglethorn Vale to Booty Bay to see how long that took on the ground, no flying. How long did it take to make that entire trip, to give myself some information and some basis for what I was going to talk about on the show originally, which was, the size of the worlds and how much bigger Star Citizen is going to be. And just, if you're interested, it took 38 minutes to make that trip. 38 minutes of riding a mount all the way down around Undercity, across the bridge, through the swamps, over past Blackrock Mountain, then down and through. You get the idea. And when I was doing that and making that trip, I was thinking, damn, dude, I wonder what the guys at Blizzard are thinking right now looking at Star Citizen, because they're looking. Every game developer is probably watching Star Citizen, and what probably originally started off as kind of like smug chuckles, like like, oh, this guy thinks he's gonna do all this, yeah. And now it's starting to get a little bit scary. I think now it's starting to get a little bit real as we move forward into 3.0. Of course there's technical hurdles, of course there's problems. We saw Chris Roberts in ATV last week getting a little bit a little testy, like, no shit, we know it's not there, and we saw that, and it's like, well, dude, these are the evocati, these are your hand-picked testers. I mean, this is the kind of feedback that you're gonna get. But I think there's a lot of game developers out there who might have been watching Star Citizen with a bit of a chuckle in the beginning, and who are now looking at it and kind of going like, oh no, oh shit. These guys have been basically building out what is the next step, the next big leap in online gaming. And we've all just been focusing on microtransactions and cool skins for weapons. These guys are not just building, say, like a world like any one of our games have. They're building worlds within a solar system, within a galaxy of many solar systems. Amount of solar systems, TBD. But, like the immensity, the quantum leap, just in terms of geography, in terms of playable area, is huge. But then you're populating it with spaceships that you can walk around on, and that you can, as a team, man different stations within that ship and work together to accomplish your goals in real time. It's a big idea, and I can see why a lot of people have shied away from it, because obviously it takes a lot of money, it takes a lot of time to get something like this off the ground, and to make it work and to make it playable and enjoyable. It takes a lot of time, but it seems like CIG is getting there, and now everyone else is kind of standing still, if you know what I mean. To give you an example of what I'm talking about, I've always been a big World of Warcraft player. I've always enjoyed it, and it's the people that I raid with, we hang out, we talk, and of course BlizzCon, which is Blizzard's big con, and this year they're going to be announcing the release of the next expansion, what the next expansion is going to be, what it's going to entail. And of course they were all getting really excited. Oh, it's going to be this. Oh, maybe it's going to be that. Oh, what's going to happen with this character? What's going to happen with that character? Blah, blah, blah. And lately, looking at it, I mean, I still enjoy the game. I still derive enjoyment out of playing it. I wouldn't play it otherwise. But I've been looking at it and I've been saying, you know, if I were working at Blizzard right now, I'd be looking at what CIG is doing and I'd be saying, we need to really next level this shit. Like, we need to step back and drop some serious cash and take things like a quantum leap ahead. I mean, we got to take the entire, you know, World of Warcraft, as we call it, and really make it a real world. We got to make this thing huge, because where we were an industry leader for so long, now it kind of looks like we're standing still. I mean, I bet you right now, over at Electronic Arts, right now, they're watching what's happening with Star Citizen very carefully. And they've probably been talking with somebody over at Disney, and they're like, what'll it really take to get a Star Wars style Star Citizen thing going? How much will, you know, how much should we charge to pledge a Corellian Corvette? I mean, look at Star Citizen. Imagine if you just took Star Citizen as a framework and dropped Star Wars into it instead of instead of the Chris Roberts universe that he's created. What if you populated that universe with the characters, the ships, the weapons from Star Wars? Well, that clearly that wouldn't sell. That wouldn't be big with the Star Wars community or the gaming community at all. No one would be interested in that. It would literally be like opening up a federal mint and just printing your own cash. I mean, how could someone not be thinking along these lines at this point? You have, through vlogs, posts, videos, everything, you have a vague roadmap of how they got to where they got. You already know some of the pitfalls that they've faced and some of the challenges that they've had to overcome. And if you do it right and you frame it and you package it right, you can actually get the players to pay for the development of the game. How can somebody at EA not be thinking this right now? If you work at Paramount or CBS and you're not sitting there thinking, so I guess how big should we let them pledge? Maybe all the way up to a Constitution or a Klingon battle cruiser? Yes. That, you know, please. Yes, please. Klingon battle cruiser. I'll take one. Imagine going to the Star Trek community, even more so because of, you know, the way the ships are in Star Trek, with multiple people manning different bridge or engineering stations and stuff like that. What if you went to them and you showed them Star Citizen as an example and said, what if we built the Enterprise? What if we built this battle cruiser or this ship or that ship? And you could man all the crew stations and you could work together with all your friends and you could voyage to all the new worlds and meet new civilizations and then either make friends with them or kill them depending on what faction you're in. If you package that and tried to sell it, I mean, would you even really have to try to sell that? But the strange thing is, from the outside looking in, it almost looks like a lot of these big game developers are kind of watching from the sidelines, you know, sitting on their hands and just kind of saying like, it's probably not going to work. Yeah, no, that's not going to work. That's not going to change anything. We can keep doing the same things that we're doing. Oh, what's this? A new design for a brand new glitter pony mount? $25? Yeah, let's put that in the store. I would love, you know, to be a fly on the wall in one of these meetings a year, 2 years from now, when these guys at, you know, either Blizzard or EA or wherever are now looking at Star Citizen and now saying, wow, we really wasted a lot of fucking time and now these guys are selling cars and we're still trying to sell horses. We got to drop some major cash and get some major work done and catch up because we were too busy hoping it wouldn't work, to think, hey, what if it does work? There's a certain amount of, things that money can overcome. If you have enough money, you can get enough developers together, you can get enough programmers together. Maybe you can try to brute force some of it, but there's only so much that those people can do. Now, of course, CIG has been kind enough over the years through vlogs, posts, interviews, to give kind of a vague roadmap of how they got from beginning to end. But there's a lot of nuts and bolts that is not explained, that a lot of other developers are now going to have to turn around and go like, oh shit, uh-oh. And I think that it's going to be fascinating to watch how this all plays out in a few years when the industry shifts and this becomes the next big thing, Now, there's a lot of games out there. I know, there's Knights of the Old Republic, there's World of Warcraft, GTA Online, there's so many of these games, but as time marches on, it's becoming more and more obvious that these games have become a little dated and are in need of not just little spot fixes here and there and this little new idea and that little new idea. They're in need of a kind of a quantum leap forward. And I'm really curious to know, have their developers, have their CEOs, have their marketing people, have any of them really noticed that they're being left behind right now? I think Star Citizen is really sort of a herald of things to come. And when I'm looking at CitizenCon, of course, we're seeing the future. We're seeing the next big things. We're seeing beyond 3.0, what comes next. But in a weird way, I'm also really curious to see what's going to happen at BlizzCon, just because, these guys who are for so long the innovators and the leaders in the industry, I'm now starting to look at them and say, wow, you guys are really starting to stand still. I mean, I don't know if you've noticed what's happening over here or over there, but it kind of seems like the tide is coming in, and I'm not too sure if you can swim. Anyways, that's the show for this week. Today. That's the show for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.